I apologize. I don't know what's going on over here. You're now really late. I'm really sorry. Okay. Two dots. Mem Dalet Amud Aleph. So who's a man who engaged to a woman? So a woman so the Mashuach Muhammad says to somebody, anybody who's engaged, so they have to go home. So Torah Banan. Asher Oras, it says that that they engage. Echad Oras as a Basula, whether he's marrying a Basula, Echad Oras as Almana, whether it's Almana, Echad Shemer as Yabam, whether it's his brother died and he has to do Yibam. Even if 5 brothers and one of them died in Muhammad, Kulan Chayzin, they all can go back from the war. Loy Lokach. So then the pasuk doesn't say Lokach. I'm sorry, the Loy Lokacha. Right? It says Loy Lokach. It doesn't say Lokacha to take her. So what do we learn out from that? Prat Lamanash Lakayin Gadol, and Almana who marries a Kohen Gadol, Grushav Chalutza Lakayin Hedjit, Mamzaris and Asil Yisrael, Bas Yisrael Lamamzer Ulanasan. Although since they're all also to be married, he's not potter, and therefore he is not exempt from the war. All right, so the Gemara asks, "Lema the like Rabbi Yosef Glili." So why don't we say there's not like Rabbi Yosef Glili? This is Gershon's favorite Rabbi Yosef Glili. Dear Rabbi Yosef Glili, Ha'amar Hayora Veracha Levav Zamas Yoram Avera Shebayadai. Somebody who's scared and soft-hearted. That's referring to somebody who's scared because he did Averis. I mean, anybody who's scared and soft-hearted shouldn't go. We'll see in the bottom of the Amid, shouldn't go to war. So it means they shouldn't go to war. So, and Rabbi Yosef Glili means it's from Averis, right? So these guys all did Averis, right? They married people that they weren't allowed to be married to, right? So meaning you don't need to say a second. You don't have to say that the reason why they're going home is because they're illegal marriages, because they did an Avera. So I asked, right? Rabbi has a very interesting shita. He says an almana can marry a kohen gadol. They can get married, make a full chasana, as long as there was no bia, not chayiv. Right? Matam loy lokach mashum loy yichalal. Right? What's the reason I'm sorry, matam loy yikach? Why does it say lo yikach mashum lo yichal? He shouldn't become mechulul, right? Mishum hachi ene loika achi yivul. He doesn't get malchus until he does bia. So according to Rabbi Yosef Glili, he goes like Rabbah, who says that a woman and a man, a man al kohen gadol, and to a mamzer, you don't get malchus until there's an actual bia. So what's the chiddush in the Mishnah? That those that even if they didn't have bia, they still have to go back from the war. They don't do the war, which, okay, I mean, I wish we had more time, so I apologize, but it comes out that they're only scared of doing. I mean, did they do an Aveira? They do an Aveira? I mean, let's say in Amman of the Kohen Gadol, like the Kohen Gadol is 90 years old. He doesn't have any Koyach Gavra anymore, let's say, or 100, whatever. Basically, he's not Negeya to him to have Bia. And he likes this Almana. Can he marry this Almana? L'chatchila?
I would think not. It's still an Isser.
It's still an Isser. And here, so then they should be scared of going to war. I mean, just because there's no malchus doesn't mean you don't need to do tshuva, right? No? From this, it sounds like that as long as you're not chayiv for something, you don't have anything to worry about of going to war. Maybe that's a pshat, meaning Hashem, instead of giving you malchus, if you chayiv malchus, so then you might get your malchus in the battlefield. But if you're not chayiv malchus, so maybe you're not going to get your malchus in the battlefield. Is that what that means? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll see a little bit more on later on the bottom of the Amid in the Amid base. Tanarabana. Asher bana, asher nota, asher eros. Right. So if a guy builds, now we have a little agadata. A guy. It says anybody that builds a house, plants a vineyard, and gets married. Limda tar derech eretz, and we had this before. Sheyivna adam bias v'yita kerem. A person should build a house, plant a vineyard, and then get married. Right? But Shlomo also said this in his Chachma. Loch achar uvanisa beisecha. Take your work outside and prepare the field, and then build a house. Hachin b'chutz melachtecha zu zebayis. Go outside and make your house. That's talking about do your work. That's a house. V'atita b'sadaloch. That's a kerem. It's a kerem. Acher uvanisa beisecha, and after then go build your house. Isha zu isha. That's an isha. So basically, and this is a proof that you're supposed to learn a parnasa before you get married. I mean, I don't know what the yeshiva system does with this Gemara. I mean, there's a lot of kashas on the issue. I'm saying, what do we do with this?
I expect everybody
Well,
to be Tarazu Nasai.
Yeah. You have a yeshiva system that teaches that it's okay to be mevatel mitzvahs to say deraisa before you get married anyway. What's this? This is not Megayah.
I hear.
I read a piece today that the Sefer Bris, like tears this apart. It's amazing how I literally just came up. He tears it apart about people needing to learn Parnasa and how it's not and how it wasn't no Geya to not learn one because otherwise your learning is basically like garnished.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah. So that's I'm saying this Gemara l'chayra is a big proof to this. Right. Fine. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. Davar acher. Hachin b'chutz malach. There's a more geschmacka Gemara coming. Davar acher. Hachin b'chutz malach zeh mikra. To prepare outside, that's reading psukim. V'asada b'sada lach zeh mishnah. That's mishnah. Meaning first learn Torah, then learn Mishnah. Achar b'niza beis zeh Gemara, then learn Gemara. I guess that's also against the yeshiva system. Okay. Right. The davar acher. Hachin b'chutz malach zu mikra Mishnah. So malach means mikra and Mishnah. V'asada b'sada lach zeh Gemara. That's Gemara. So first you learn Gemara, Mikra, Psukim, Mishnayos, then learn Gemara, and then Maisim Tovim. Which basically what the Gemara is saying is that you need to have Torah first, and then it's Derech Eretz. Right? That's what it sounds like. First you learn the Torah, then you can do Chesed. Rabbi Elazar ben Asher Yochanan Glili are the opposite. Hachein b'chutz malach zu Mikra Mishnah u Gemara. That's all three. That's Maisim Tovim. Then go be Mekabel Schar. So according
it doesn't sound like such a chiddush. Every kid and chayda knows Derech Eretz is Kadmal Torah.
Right, but the first shita. Right?
Wait, they don't know what Derech Eretz is. They know it's Kadmal Torah.
That's right. The first sheet is telling you. Otherwise, you're just doing what society says is a nice thing. And the Echetesa, that's correct. As we see the times we're living in now, it's totally fakert. All the chesed is Akzarius and Ritzicha. When you have to know what the halacha is, what the Torah tells you is a chesed, then you can do it. Otherwise, you know, we see what's going on.
Right. Yeah, I know, Hanami. That's but I mean, they themselves are having a machlokes whether you can do the Gemilas Chesed without Torah, right?
Yeah, I understand there could be a machlokes about it, but to the sheet that says what Aaron said, that everybody knows that, but we have to know what Derech Eretz is before we do it. That's what the first sheet is. I'm not saying which sheet is better. I'm just saying I can understand. Living now in 2023, you can understand this first sheet very, very well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. But the question is also what is Gemilas Chasadim, right? What is Maisim Tovim? One says no, they both say Maisim Tovim. I thought it said Gemilas Chasadim. Maisim Tovim. Is Maisim Tovim bonus, or is that just like regular menschlichkeit? I don't know. Okay, so after you have Maisim Tovim, then you can drosh v'kabel schar. So I forgot. Yeah, so it seems like the Marsha says I don't know exactly, but the Marsha seems to say that what's the kabel schar? If you be able to, the drosha is the kibel schar. Somebody says that, right? Meaning if you're able to darshan learn deeper, then that's the kabel schar, right? Rabban likes the story of Rabban Kotler. who said, yes, I understand. What did he say? He said, what's going to be with Adam Hazeh? You
No,
understand that?
yeah. He says he said that he says I know my Olam Haba is going to be better than the person who doesn't learn. He says, but my Olam Haba is better too. He says I learned the Taisus. This person never learned the Taisus. What geschmack does he have in Olam Haba?
Right. Right. So that's what this Gemara seems to be saying, according to some, meaning if you learn Gemara, then you have Maisim Taivim, then you're gonna have drush, and then you'll be makabel the schar with the drushes. Unfortunately, you got a lot. Their schar is the ganze lange drushes by simchas. They don't talking. Oh, that's a different shmooze. Okay.
I thought the Pashup shot was limit Torah supposed to be Lil Maid on Manas Lalame. So the droish is v'kabel schar ala limit. There's of course this kabbalah schar for limit Torah without lalame. When it becomes lalame, there's multiplicity of schar for the limud.
Well, yeah, but you say not for the drush, stam the limud.
For the drasha, of course, he gets schar, but for the limud, he gets much more schar than he would have originally without the drush.
Right. I hear you. Okay, weiter. So those that so those that only build, what was the word we used yesterday? Accessories to the house are not potter from the war. Tana im haisif by dimos echas. If he even added one row, chayzer is chayzer. Now that, as derech of the Gemara, has nothing to do with the words that were just quoted. It's going on to the Chulu, which is that Rabbi Yehuda disagrees and says if you build a house, if you build the same exact house in the same spot, doesn't count, right? But if you even add one row of bricks, then even Rabbi Yehuda b'mayda, then you can get your potter from war. Okay, Rabbi Lezer, afa b'ayna bias levanim b'sharon lahei chayzer. Even if you build a house made out of stones in the Sharon, you're not chayzer. What's the chiddush? Tanam nation mechadshin oiseh pamayim b'shuv. The reason is because the what's it called are so lousy. The bricks are so lousy that they have to rebuild the house every 3.5 years. So Mamela, that's not called a permanent house. Therefore, you're not potter from the army. So then there are those that don't even have to leave. So anybody that actually got married, the second stage of married, or he started living in the house, or he started eating the fruits of the vineyard, but he didn't eat it for a year. So those guys don't even have to go do support for the war. So Tanur about an Isha Chadasha says a new wife. Maybe it only means a new wife. Basula. How do you know Amon Grusha? Minayan Tamalim Isha Mikom Makom. It says any type of Isha. Im came Tamalim Isha Chadasha. And what if to say what's the Chiddush Isha Chadasha? Misha Chidshaloi. It's somebody who's new to him. Yatsa Machzir Grushase Shein Chadashaloi. Right? Machzir Grushase is not so exciting because he's just going back to his original marriage. So therefore he has to go to the war. Taraban La Yatzip Tzava. He doesn't go out to the army. Yachal b'tzavahu de lo yotza avol yaspik mayim umazin. So you would think, okay, he doesn't go to war, but he has to give them food and drink, v'yisakan hadrachim, and fix the roads. And they shouldn't go. They don't. It literally means don't pass over him, meaning don't put anything on him at all. Oh, so then okay. So if you don't put anything in them at all, so maybe a guy who built a house but he didn't live in it at all. Not the Karen, he planted a vineyard and he didn't have the 4th year to net the Ravah yet. Aras Isha engaged in a woman, and he didn't actually marry her. Maybe those guys shouldn't have to go out and do support for the war either. So Tamalaymar, Allah, I'm sorry, on him. Allah yatamavir, you don't put it on the guy who actually got married and actually started living in his house and actually started having the vineyard. But him, you don't, but the other ones you do. Now that it said lo yavar, lo yetzeh, so once you're saying that you're not going to give him anything to work, you're not even making them, being Pasuk says they don't have to provide support, right? Okay. And they don't even go to the army. So you don't need that. If you're not providing support, of course you're not going to the army. So lavar la b'shnei lavin, to be over on 2 lavin, meaning lavar la b'shnei lavin what? If he goes to the army, he's over on 2 lavin. Right? That's a very interesting thing. So that means that comes out, we didn't discuss this, we should have discussed it. So it's saying that a guy who builds a new house and gets married and builds a vineyard is potter, right? What happens if he decides to be, what do you call those guys? A lone soldier, right? Let's say he decides he wants to volunteer. So you're over on two lavim, right? It's a fascinating thing. Right? What's a pshat? The guy's wife says, go out to the war. He's over on 211. If he goes, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if she's Michael, I'm not sure. I'm not sure she could be Michael. But he's not even allowed
If
to
Shana Rishina, if she decides to tell him go out to war, there's probably something wrong.
That could be.
Maybe he could go then.
Why is there something wrong? There's not something wrong.
Well,
Well, then they both have their priorities off. I mean, the Torah is teaching us about priorities here. You're married a new wife. Your priority is her, not outside things. That's your ultimate priority.
This is not outside things. Your nation is at war. You're fighting enemies of who want to kill you. So it's not, you didn't join a bowling league that you're not home 2 nights a week.
I would have said the same thing, except that's what the Torah is saying with this.
That's what Eichel would say, let him go. But the Torah says you're over on 2 lavim if the guy goes. Yeah. Okay, so listen, the marriage one I can understand. The house and the vineyard, I don't get it. I'm saying because you started eating your fruit, so Mela, you don't go on a war. But the guy that didn't start eating his fruit yet, he does go. I mean, at least for support. I don't know.
On the other hand, you also, I mean, even in practically, on a practical level, you don't want someone who's going to be distracted fighting your battles.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good point. Okay, Dr. Mishnah. Vayasvu hashoitrim, v'yasvu hashoitrim l'daber, and the shoitrim, they started to speak. Right? Elam. Rabbi Kiva Aimer hayore v'racha levav kimashmoi. Rabbi Kiva says what it says. Somebody fearful, and he's soft-hearted is like mashmoi. She'ena yachal lamed b'kishrei al mechama v'liros cherev shlufa. He just can't go see the battalions. I think that would be the word, and to see a sword, the guy bringing out a sword. Some people just freak out from that. So Rabbi Kiva says that guy's potter. He's scared about the averos that he's done. Right, the biggest chiddush of all the chiddushim, right? This is mamish. The reason why a guy this answers the question we just mentioned. The reason why a guy is potter from a house and a vineyard, meaning a guy who has a vineyard, a house, or a new wife is potter, is to hide a guy who did chatayim that he shouldn't be embarrassed. Right? The Torah is called elu sheyaser biglalon, so that the guy that did the avera can go back without having to be worried about being embarrassed. That why are you not going to the war? Because you did averas? No, he probably bought a new house or whatever it is, right? Okay. That's somebody who's yareh berach halevav, right? Meaning, it doesn't seem like there's much difference between the two. Right? He's just giving seems like Rabbi Yosef is just giving examples. Right? All right. And then when they finish speaking, then they put officers at the head of the nation. And they also put it at the foot of the people, meaning they put officers at the beginning of the army and officers at the beginning again at the end of the army. They would put men who were standing straight up, and others behind them. And they had iron axes in their hands. Right? This also sounds, you tell this to people, right? You tell this to people, they say, like, 1 second. If a guy decides to abandon the war, a guy decides to abandon the army, you chop his legs off. Mamish chop his legs off. Why? The beginning of running away is falling, which the Gemara is going to say that it really should be the opposite. The beginning of falling is running away, right? Meaning once you see people start running, so then you have the herd mentality, and once a few people start running, then you lost everybody. Shenemar, Nas Yisrael lefnei Plishtim v'gam magefa gedola hoisa ba'am. The Klal Yisrael ran from the Plishtim, and there was a magefa gedola. Olanu remember Yinus Anchi Yisrael mepnei Plishtim v'yiplu v'chalolim, and they fell, and the chalolim fell. So you see that when they started running, that was when all the problems were. That's all by this is all talking about where it's a voluntary milchama war, milchamas mitzvah. But if it's a milchamas mitzvah, kol yotzin, everybody goes out. Afilu chasen chedroi v'kala mechupasei. Even a chasen from his room and a kala from her chuppah, which is a major chiddush. What all of a sudden the women are fighting the wars, right? So this gets all into that whole din of the Minchas Chinuch, who says that women are potter from Parshas Zachor because they're not in wars. They're not mechuyev in wars. This L'chayra seems to say that they are. They are. Okay, fine. Amar Rabbi Yehuda b'medvar amurim b'milchamas mitzvah. He says, only when did we say this din that they go and stay home? That's by milchamas mitzvah. Milchamas chayva, but if it's a milchama that's a chiyuv, a kol yotzin, everybody's yotzeh. Everybody goes out. Afilu chasen mechadre v'kal mechupasa. Even a kain from his room and a kal mechupasa. But we'll see in the Gemara what this means. Okay, so now then the Mishnah said Rabbi Yossi says somebody who's afraid of Averis. Rabbi Yossi Aglid said somebody who's afraid of Averis and because he married somebody who's not supposed to marry, Almana, L'Kohen Gadol, etc., etc. My Ika ben Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Ika ben Nai. What's the difference between them? Ika ben Nai Avera D'Rabbanon and Avera D'Rabbanon. If somebody was over in D'Rabbanon, Rabbi Yossi Aglili says don't go to war. But according to Rabbi Yossi, he does go to war, right? Yeah. So okay, that means that according to one, being over in Issa D'Rabbanon is more makel than being over in Issa D'Oraisa. Okay, it's not. I mean, they have the same severity, right? They have the same severity, but yeah, fine. Kiman Ozla Hadatan Yisach bein Tefillah the Tefillah. Oh, so there's a very interesting din here. Somebody talks between putting on the Shalyad and the Shalroish. Averu he beyada, he did an Avera. The Chayzer Allah Bayarcha Muhammad, and because of that, he should go back from fighting of the war. Right? Kiman, who's that like? Rabbi Yosef Galili, because it's Issa D'Rabbanan. Now, what is the Issa D'Rabbanan? The guy talked in between his tefillin. Right? What's the problem? Because he holds that he's not making another bracha. Right? What's the din? If you talk between the Shalyad and the Shalroish, so what do you do? You got to make two brachas on the Shalroish. Right? So this guy, he didn't say another bracha, which is a D'Rabbanan. He deserves to go back from the Gemara, from the war. A guy actually asked me this week, like when you put on the shul, when you wrap around your fingers, you say v'rastich lila, they say v'rastich, right? This guy by mistake said it before he put on the shul rosh. He wrapped it around his fingers and said it. Now he wants to know, is that a hefsek or not? Because maybe it's not a hefsek, because that's part of putting on the tefillin.
Right, it's not a hesek hadas. In theory, it shouldn't be a hefsek.
Right, but the bottom line is you're not supposed to say it there. So I wasn't sure. Of the how to answer that. Okay, bye.
Wasn't the kids to say the problem is it was a karin beinenecha? That's the reason for no hefsek.
Yeah,
it's all one thing. That's really learned from a pasuk.
Right. So when is it so? When is not? I don't know. Okay, Shama called Kronos Firsi. If he hears the voices or the sounds of a shofar, right, or a karan really means a horn, and he starts shaking. Hagafas Trisin, the knocking of the shields, Versia also starts being nervous. Tztuach Harava, he sees shining of the swords, Umayim Shaisin Oabrukov, and then he wets his pants. Literally means the urine goes to his knees. Right, so Chayzer, obviously, you send that guy home. You don't want him fighting for you. Come on, Lema Rebbe Kiva, maybe that sounds like that's going to go to Rebbe Kiva, who says that Racha Leva means somebody who can't handle it. So my answer, if somebody is so scared, even Rabbi Yosef Glili's mind the Mishum Tesiv, and don't let his heart become melted the way his brother's heart is. Right, so. It's an interesting thing. So maybe the reason why he's so nervous is because he was over on Isurim, right? Why can't it be both? he gets so nervous from war because he was over on Isurim. But I don't know. Okay. When the Shaijim finished talking, so then we said that because they are allowed to chop off the feet if anybody abandons ship, anybody goes AWOL, could chop off his feet. Why? Because the beginning of falling down of an army falling is running away. But the way the Mishnah says it, that the beginning of running away is falling. It should be the beginning of falling, meaning of an army losing, is the running away. So when it says the beginning of them, so change the pshat in the Mishnah. The beginning of the running away of the nefila is nisa. Fine. So what's going on here? Somebody Rishus the Rabbanon, Zui mitzvah to Rabbi Yehuda. A Rishus of the Rabbanon is a mitzvah to Rabbi Yehuda. Mitzvah the Rabbanon and a mitzvah of the Rabbanon, Zuhi chayva to Rabbi Yehuda, that's a chiyuv of Rabbi Yehuda. So meanwhile, each one is sort of like working in a ratio. Right? So Amarava, Lachemes Yeshua lichvaish, Lachemes Yeshua to conquer Eretz Yisrael, Divrei Akol Chayv, everybody holds that Tzachiv, then you didn't need to live in Eretz Yisrael. Mechames based David, L'Ravacha, the Mechames based David, that was for sure just to enhance. Divrei Akol, Rishus, everybody holds Rishus. Kipligi, Levute, Oivde Kecham, the Loi Lesi allow. A war to make sure that the Goyim don't attack us, that's a Shiloh. Right, Markari la mitzvah. One calls it a mitzvah, Markari rishus, and one calls it rishus. So that's the machlokes between the Chachamim and Rabbi Yehuda, whether they're going into a like preemptive arm fighting to keep the goyim away. That's a shayla, right? So nafkamina. What's a nafkamina? L'isik b'mitzvah shepater min mitzvah. To somebody who's isik b'mitzvah, whether he is pater min mitzvah. Meaning, if you hold that it's a mitzvah, so then somebody else is doing another mitzvah, he's pater. If it's not, then it's not. Now. Is a Isaac mitzvah pater min a mitzvah in every war, or we're just having it with this machlokes? Right? So I wasn't sure. Right? Yeah. So that's that part. I'm not sure. Like, if a guy's in the middle of chveis, taking care of the elderly, so is he pater from Muhammad? A chiyuv? You got to have somebody back home to take care, no? So I don't know. Not sure. Okay. Well, I guess we'll start. Oh, l'chaim time. Hadron Allah, Mashuach, Muhammad, l'chaim to all those that are l'chaiming out. Yeah, the l'chaim people are not on anymore. All right. I guess we'll stop here. Fine.
I'm loving the size of Matzah.
L'chaim.
Oh, they came back. All the L'chaim people came back.
Yeah.
No. Tiago, my son is trying to figure out how to set the phone that the alerts come up on the phone and the phone stays on so you can find out about the Knick game.
Cash in 9:25 Matzi Shabbos.
Thanks. Before my Matzah Shabbos. No, I was saying the size of the Daf Matzah Shabbos.
Size of the Daf Matzah Shabbos is very.
It's huge.
It's very
Okay.
Till the end of the Masechta. Till the end.
So what do you want to do? You want to call up Ravina Ravashi? What do you want to do?
No. I'm just trying to preempt any. If I ask a question, parents shouldn't get so annoyed. It's already a long daf. My thing is not whatever.
The daf is long. We're preempting your question.
Gershon, the size is not the problem.
And Gershon, the preempting wouldn't help either. So
I'll have to.
Why?
Gershon, because you're showing that you're premeditated, so you're putting yourself into even more trouble.
Very good, Avi. Excellent, Avi.
What time early Shabbos? Isn't it already, or there's islands all making late Shabbos?
What's Shabbos today?
you have a Hasidic island here. No one's making early Shabbos.
6:45.
Are you going to Grona this week, or you're not going to Grona?
As far as I know,
I didn't hear what you said. You are or you're not?
I am not. No, I am not.
I'm pretty sure you're for Shabbos, actually.
Where are you, Tzvi Yaakov? Where are you?
I'm outside. He's not. Rabbi Groner's not here for Shabbos.
He is here? Rachamim, he said outside.
All right, fine. I gotta go. Got somebody here. All right.
See you
Have a
tomorrow.
good Shabbos.
Take it, Shabbos.